Morning all, how's it going? It's fucking pissing down in California today, which is rare as rocking horse shit. I went out for a run and got fucking drenched. When you get rain in California, it's not like rain in England, it's fucking man's rain. Like back home, if it's pissing down, you go for a run anyway, don't you? But out here, if it's pissing down and you go for a run, 10 seconds into it, you look like you've been fucking blasted with the riot hose. Which they refuse to deploy in England because they're all soft as fucking shite. Anyway, I'm just making a quick one today because this made me laugh. The trolls are obviously out. Either it's a troll or it's the daftest fucking protest I've seen yet. And it says "Go bald for BLM" hashtag. It says "Non-black women shave your head or you are a racist and a fake ally." And look, one of my mother's friends felt brave after hearing about my mother's decision and took the leap. What an amazing and blessed woman. Well, to be fair, she's got a face like a fucking smacked ass, so she hasn't really lost anything by that. Like, she wasn't beating the men off with a shitty stick, and then she shaved her head, and they're all like, yeah, I'll pass then. She's got a fucking head like a melted welly, so it doesn't matter. If every cunt as ugly as that fucker that shaves their head, we're not missing out, boys, are we? Anyway, the main purpose of this video is I'm going to go there, right? I've already made the case, you know, that smug, horrible bastard with his knee on George Floyd's neck, he deserves the book throwing at him. Just the way he did it was fucking grotesque. He's obviously a piece of shit. At best, he's staggeringly unprofessional. And he's committed manslaughter. So I don't really care about the fucking guy, and I've made my feelings clear. But I'm unwilling to toe the line, like I said yesterday, where you just freak out because you're emotional. Like a fucking retarded 6-year-old child. Because facts and logic and reason are what I care about. And just because we're all angry and upset because we've seen a video where some poor cunt got killed by a copper when he didn't deserve it, doesn't mean reality goes out the fucking window. Because there's a few alarming things that I've now discovered about this case, and I want to talk about them because I'm willing to wager hardly anybody is. They're all just jumping on the bandwagon and going, no, whatever we do, mob rule now, whatever we do to those fucking 4 coppers is totally legit. String them all up. And I'm sorry, but back when the world was sane and liberals weren't maniacs, that was called a fucking lynching. You don't get upset about something and just fucking meet Justice House like fucking Judge Dredd when he's in a shit mood. I will cover this one at length on Sunday as well, because the statistics from England are fucking unbelievable. There's a sneak preview. I put it on my Facebook. It's basically BLM in the UK saying, we demand you stop killing 7 or 8 black guys every 10 years. Oh yeah, and you're also killing them at a vastly lower rate than the white people. Yeah, those assholes, you know the ones who we ignored for 30 years while we raped the shit out of 500,000 of the daughters. Yeah, them ones. Cheers then. So, I'll talk about that on Sunday. It's a fucking piss take. So, the first mitigating circumstance is this, right? George Floyd had a violent criminal history. And I don't know how it works in Minneapolis, but in my small town in England, if the coppers know who you are, everyone knows who they are, and you can't blame people for being a little bit more sympathetic when the coppers are fucking arseholes to them. That's reasonable, isn't it? Like, if the coppers are sick and fucking tired of seeing my fat fucking face every bastard fortnight, they're getting called out and they turn up and it's me being a cunt, can you really blame the police for losing the rag and maybe being a little bit more heavy-handed than they normally are? Like, they're not going to be as circumspect as they would be if they're dealing with a complete stranger, are they? It's basically like saying, would I be forgiven for being a little bit more aggressive with a guy who I know for a fact was shagging my missus than a perfect stranger or a priest? Like, if you're dealing with a known quantity, the coppers are going to be a little bit more like, oh, it's this fucking asshole again, get in the van, you cunt. And I don't think it is relevant if the guy's got a long, violent criminal history. Again, not excusing it. Just because he's a career criminal, you don't get the fucking right to kill the poor cunt. The law has to be always adhered to. I am a massive believer in the rule of law, and I think anyone who is anywhere near the centre in politics, conservative or liberal, should be all about the rule of law. John Locke and the people that the fathers of the Enlightenment were all about the rule of law. And a copper meting out justice like a fucking scumbag is not the rule of law, but neither is lynching people because you're fucking pissed off. Weird that, again, why does a fucking NCO from the Royal Marines have to point this stuff out? Aren't educated people supposed to be running the fucking show? Jesus fuck it does piss me off. I've always been underpaid, and now I'm fucking having to point out obvious shit that clever, educated people should know. It's almost like the cunts in charge really are thick as fuck. He said he was in jail for 5 years in 2009 for assault and robbery. And before that he was convicted of theft with a firearm to drug dealing. Not a nice fella. Armed robbery, waving guns around, drug dealing, thieving, stealing. If the coppers know him and they're sick of seeing his face, I can understand them being a bit judgmental and heavy-handed with him. The second thing I wanted to point at was what we know about the 4 ex-police officers charged in George Floyd's death, right? So, just from seeing the video, I made some quick judgments, trying to be rational, but still annoyed because the horrible smug cunt with a shit-eating grin on his face while he was kneeling on the fucker was... The main perpetrator is a fucking arsehole and he deserves a lengthy spell in prison. The 2 arse-covering ones that were clearly keeping toot for him, they're fucking arseholes as well. But what did they really do? It wasn't assisting a murder, because the autopsy has shown that he died of cardiovascular issues and he had a drug problem and all sorts of stuff. They didn't asphyxiate him. They didn't strangle him to death, basically. So Derek Chauvin, he's a cunt. You should be looking at about 8 or 9 years for manslaughter. But he's not going to get that, is he? He's going to get fucking 40 years. Like the same sentence he would get if he drove a truck into a kindergarten and then fucking ate 7 of the kids. Like, that's the sentence he's going to get. And I think that's not justice. It's outside of the realms of logical sentencing for a man who is a piece of shit but didn't set out that morning with the intent of murdering an innocent man for no reason at all. He was in for 19 years as well, so he's crooked, he's a veteran, he knows what he's doing, he's a fucking knobhead. 18 prior complaints, shocking. He should have been fired fucking 10 years ago, which is why, like I've said, the unions need fucking sorting out as well. If you've had 18 prior complaints and 2 were closed with discipline, you want sacking. Anyway, J. Alexander Kung looks mixed race to me. Shouldn't play a role, but it's obviously relevant considering, like I talked about yesterday, do you feel happier when a black man kills your son? Probably not. So they need to relax a bit and think this is all about race. Also, this poor bastard, he only joined as a cadet in February 2019. He's got no prior complaints, and it was his 3rd shift as a police officer. Fucking 3rd shift. So by all intents, he's a rookie, right? A proper rookie. It's his 3rd shift as a copper. And do you think he deserves fucking 25 years for murder? Because he fucking doesn't. In fact, I would go so far as to say out of them all, he's the only one. I don't even think that poor bastard deserves charging criminally. Because there is no fucking way on this earth that when you're a rookie, doesn't matter whether you're a young soldier who's just got to your fucking commando unit and you deploy with a load of fucking grunts, with a load of veterans and officers and senior NCOs and stuff, you're not going to start fucking telling them what to do if you think they're being a bit heavy-handed with someone, are you? No fucking way. And I defy anyone who watches this to disagree with me. If you were a rookie copper on your 3rd shift as a policeman, and there's 2 fucking veterans and one guy who's been on the force 20 years and you're still on probation, are you going to start telling them what to do and fucking dishing out the fucking law of the land? Even if you think they are being heavy-handed and picking on a guy. No fucking way. It wouldn't happen. So him, I'd fire him from the force, give him a warning, suspended sentence, and leave it at that. There's no fucking way he should be spending a serious chunk of his life in prison. No fucking way. Controversial. Well, fuck it. That's what I'm here for. Thomas Lane, he's getting done for aiding and abetting 2nd-degree murder. Joined as a cadet in 2019, didn't have a history of complaints. A fucking Been on the force for 4 days when he died. Again, can you expect these people to argue with a fucking career veteran? Not really. Maybe he should have had the courage of his convictions and said something, but you can't expect it for someone that's been a policeman for that long. I almost feel sorry for those two fuckers. So yeah, sack him, but he doesn't deserve any jail time. Tu Tao? Oh no, he's Asian. Well, he must be a good guy then. He's like Princess Diana of Minnesota Police Department. Yeah, he'd been a copper since 2012. 6 complaints. Fucking. So he's a bit of a cunt as well. And he knows what he's doing. He should get about fucking 10 years. I mean, he's a cunt and I've got no sympathy for him. And that poor cunt have basically had their lives completely ruined because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. What do you reckon? You think if you've been on the fucking force, if you were in your 3rd shift as a police cadet, think you'd be arguing with an Asian bloke? Because that's a fucking there. He's got the race card to play. And he's been a copper for nearly 10 years. And he's a grizzled veteran who's been a fucking bobby for 20 years. And you think he's fucking supposed to argue with the cunts? Or him? It's not happening. And it's unreasonable to think it. Let me know what you think. I'd love to fucking hear. Again, nobody wants to argue. I'd love to hear someone put a logical case forward why we should throw the fucking criminal justice system out the fucking window just because we feel really strongly about this one, because we're a bit upset. It's irrational. He's not Jeffrey Dahmer. He's a shit cop who killed a bloke by accident because he's a knobhead. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I haven't got much sympathy for him, but 2 of that 4 couldn't have been expected reasonably to start dishing out the fucking orders to the 2 experienced coppers that were basically in charge with the situation. And that's how it works in the military. They wouldn't expect a private who's been in the army for 6 weeks to argue with a captain and a lieutenant if they're roughing up a fucking Iraqi. They wouldn't, and he wouldn't get fucked for it. Let me know what you think. All the fucking pile of shite. Everyone's gone mental. The whole world's full of fucking crazy people. And the worst thing is, if you're colourblind now, and you think everyone should have equal opportunity to everything and be treated equally, no matter what they look like. If you think that, 50 fucking years ago, in the United States, they'd all fucking hate you and they'd call you a radical because you were going against the common parlance of the time. 30 years they'd call you a liberal, a progressive. And now, if you think that, like I do, they call you a racist and a bigot and a xenophobe because they think the first fucking thing you should think when you meet a new person is, how should I react as a result of their skin colour or sexuality or religious beliefs? If you think that's progress, you're a fucking idiot. Cheers.